You know, the C in RNC doesn't stand for committee, it stands for cult. It's not the Republican National Committee, it's the Republican National Cult.
They seem to have reached rock bottom with their statement that what happened on January 6th was normal political discourse. I say this to Republicans all the time: take back your party from this cult.
Is it a cult or is it stupidity? And what's the difference? Today, the cult that Congressman Jeffries and Speaker Pelosi are referring to produced two new stunning displays of stupidity, one on video and another in a tweet. First, the video.
Now we have Nancy Pelosi's Gazpacho police spying on members of Congress, spying on the legislative work that we do, spying on our staff, and spying on American citizens that want to come talk to their representatives.
Now, we're all capable of misspeaking at any moment. I do it with names sometimes right here on this show. I recently called Daniel Goldman, who I know very well, David Goldman. That stuff happens. The problem with Marjorie Taylor Greene is that there is no evidence that she actually knew the word Gestapo when she said the word Gazpacho. If she knew both words and how to use them properly, then what happened was just one brain cell misfiring at the wrong moment. But there is plenty of evidence to suggest that Marjorie Taylor Greene is so utterly ignorant, not just about Nazi Germany, but about everything, and so relentlessly stupid that she actually thinks Gazpacho is the name of Hitler's secret police. The last part of her statement is a classic display of the cult that Congressman Jeffries and Speaker Pelosi described. Marjorie Taylor Greene says that the people who attacked the Capitol and beat police officers nearly to death and vowed that they were there to kill Mike Pence were, quote, this is what she said, American citizens that want to come to talk to their representatives. They wanted to kill Mike Pence. They wanted to kill Nancy Pelosi. They wanted to kill Chuck Schumer. They wanted to kill representatives. They did not want to talk to their representatives. And there was this tweet today from one of the competitors for stupidest person ever elected to Congress, Republican Thomas Massie. I noticed it when Nobel Prize-winning economist Paul Krugman framed it this way: Siri, give me the stupidest thing anyone has ever said about health care. Thomas Massie tweeted, over 70% of Americans who died with COVID died on Medicare. And some people want Medicare for all? If you need an explanation of what is so profoundly stupid about that statement, then you have to go back to kindergarten and start over. Joining us now is Dr. Lance Dotis, a former assistant clinical professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School. Dr. Dotis is a contributor to the best-selling book, The Dangerous Case of Donald Trump. 37 psychiatrists and mental health experts assess a president. Dr. Dotis, thank you very much for joining us again tonight. We always appreciate it. As we've been hearing this word cult used this week, and especially after the Republican National Committee issued that statement calling what happened on January 6th legitimate political discourse, I have been wondering at what point we have exhausted the limits of political knowledge about this subject, and when we should be turning for you to your reaction to what we're seeing, what could make people make this public, call that attack on the Capitol legitimate political discourse, what has pushed Nancy Pelosi to the point of calling her colleagues across the aisle a cult. What do you see in all of this?
Well, I think that the word cult is probably correct. That what a cult is, especially a charismatic cult, which is the kind we're talking about here, where you have an all-powerful leader, Trump, who is seen as a godlike figure. Those cults are self-contained intentionally. If you're in one, you are required to believe the belief system of the group. And a part of that, which is important to understand, is that you are also required to deny or ignore or attack those people who would challenge the belief system of the group. which is exactly what we see from many of these Trump followers who simply act as though they cannot hear, and they attack those people who challenge it, as happened to Liz Cheney. The advantage of being in such a group is that you have an echo chamber of people who are admiring you and affirming you. It's a self-affirming system. Everyone agrees on the same things, and they all follow and worship the leader. On the other hand, to stand up against that, therefore, means that you are an outcast. You're a pariah. You get thrown out of the group. You get yourself attacked. Another advantage of being in the group is that you are seen as superior to the outsiders. So, and again, we see that in the Republican Party. They are the ones, they say, who are defending democracy or defending whatever they think they're defending by attacking voting rights and so forth. But they are the righteous ones, and they get that out of it. So in order to get through to them, you'd have to have somebody say, the emperor has no clothes. They would have to see that Trump is, in fact, what he is, a dangerous criminal, a psychopath, which would be very hard for them because they've pinned a lot of their hopes and focus on him and a lot of their actions. You would have to have somebody, ideally, who is in the group speak up, or even someone who is associated with it. In the Republican Party, I've wondered where George W. Bush is in all this. You know, I don't think he's in that cult, but why is he not standing up? That's the sort of thing that we need, people to be able to speak up and break the holds that the leader has on them, which is also partially not only a worship of him, but a fear of him, of course. And he has enormous power because he uses it, and other people get afraid. The people in Congress especially are afraid of losing their power and their jobs. That's a little different from the people who are supporting Trump in the public. But they have a special reason to be unwilling to take a moral stand in this issue. Morality and justice.
So, Doctor, it seems that one defense against cultism, one personal defense that we might all possess, or many of us might possess, is intelligence. You're simply too smart to fall for the stupidity of what the cult is selling. What's the difference between adherence to a cult and stupidity?
It helps to be stupid, but I think that they're different because there are intelligent people who are members of cults. You know, as much as some of these people who are Republicans who don't seem to care about either democracy or morality are odious to us, they may be intelligent. Unfortunately, intelligence doesn't help you when you've got these enormous internal and external pressures to stay in line with the leader. I think it has certainly a moral quality. People who have high moral qualities and values do stand up. We sometimes consider them heroic. They finally stand up and say, this is not right, as Liz Cheney did. But I think we have to question the morality of these Trump followers because their morality is not strong enough to overcome their self-interest of staying in the cult.
When we see some of the transcripts, for example, of FBI interviews of people who attacked the Capitol, it is stunning just how low functioning their intelligence is in the information they processed that led them to that point.
Well, yes, I think that at one point in his campaign, Trump said he loved uneducated people. And I think that's a part of it. Yes, I think the people who have the least complex thought processes are more likely to be vulnerable to dictators like Trump and the other monster dictators we've seen in the 20th century. They are more likely to just fall into line and say, I wish to have someone strong who I falsely believe will look after me, and I don't have to think too much. I will do what that person says and believe whatever he says. So yes, it helps to be uneducated and it helps to not be very smart.